it's whacked forward. Whitehead gets to it first below the left circle. Back of the Tigers' net. Along the end boards. Now up the wall to the line. Berg into the slot. Mid-slot. Shoots. He scores! Bushimansky quickly gets it back into the Tigers' zone. Intercepted at the left board. Stringer in front. Shit scores! Wise flat. Centers the puck in front. McKenna shoots. Glove save. Huet! Holy smokes, he robbed him! Wow! Marvelous stop by Ewan Huet. Gavin McKenna just got robbed. Bouncing puck in the middle of the ice. Intercepted at the line. Aremba shoots. Deflected. Score! A nice little start to the season for the 16-year-old rookie Cole Temple. It's his third of the year. Right, had it poked past him, and here's Spencer, 2-on-1. Right side in front to Howe. Backhander scores! Tanner Howe, and Regina's on the board.
Welcome to Passcast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast, with your hosts Chris Clark and Kevin Shaw. All right, welcome in. It's October 8th, 2023. It's episode 146. It is the Thanksgiving long weekend. Just a couple games to talk about. Not as busy as the last episode, so hopefully we'll get through this a little quicker than the last one. First though, before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to a friend. He's running the Lumsden Jacks Junior C hockey team. He's looking for some more players for tryouts. So if you're interested, you can get a hold of us, or you can check out their Facebook or Twitter. I put it out on our Twitter as well. So they're doing tryouts on the October 10th, 17th, and 24th in Lumsden. So he's just looking for a few more guys out there. So check them out.
Pretty quick.
Yeah. So they're looking for a few more guys to fill out the tryouts, and Junior C. So if you know anybody, if you're looking, so check them out. So to the Pats, it was coming off an ugly Saturday night game. We were maybe going to record Saturday night, but Kevin wasn't feeling up for it, so we said, whatever, we'll do Sunday night and go from there. But we'll go back to Wednesday, I guess. And Wednesday and Saturday were just like night and day differences.
Well, the first period Wednesday was night and day differences to the second and third period and Saturday. So,
yeah, I mean, the Pats really capitalized, I think, in that first period, unlike that Moose Jaw game where they dominated the first period and ended up 1-1.
Yeah.
It just seemed like the forecheck was really good. Medicine Hat had some bad turnovers. The defense couldn't make a good solid first pass. I don't know if there's an issue. They had some bus issues and they came in an hour late.
Yeah, they were late. They literally showed up just for warm-ups.
Yeah,
they got there just in time for warm-ups, so they were delayed a little bit. So maybe that hampered them.
Yeah, so I don't.
And their starting goalie McCallum did not play very well, which was good for the Pats.
Yeah,
they kind of took advantage.
It was his first career start, so
yeah.
He ended up only lasting the period. And then Evan May came in and played the rest. But yeah, I mean, they played a solid game otherwise, though. Like, even, obviously Medicine Hat, I think they just got their legs under them and kind of pushed back in the second and third. But Ewan Huet played great. He played real well. We haven't seen him play live yet, so that was nice to see.
Yeah, it was his best game as a Pat, even through all the scrimmages and the preseason. I saw all that, and he was by far the best was Wednesday night from him.
Yeah, he's got a little bit different style, that's for sure. Like, you compare him to Pine, they're two kind of totally different styles, aren't they?
Yeah, Pine's more of a prototypical North American butterfly. Huet's kind of a butterfly, kind of a flippy floppy, try to make the desperation save because get a little bit of position. I don't know how to really describe it.
Yeah, he's not as technically sound, I would say. Like, I'm no goalie expert, but
it's a different technical.
Yeah.
It looks like you watch the World Juniors and you see a lot of the European goalies, and they're kind of like that. They do the flop stuff. They're not really. They don't try to get super big and fill the net. They kind of make the save and desperation wise try to keep the puck out.
Yeah, definitely. You can see he's got different style. He's kind of jumping for some high shots over him or over the net and stuff. So it's definitely different. But I mean, he stopped, what was it, 32 of 34. So they got one late, a 6-on-5, and and then one on the power play early, the third period. Yeah. So I mean,
you might as well say something about the noise in the background.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of bad. New baby's here, so.
Well, yeah, you might as well introduce her.
Yeah, I just had a new baby a couple weeks ago, so add into the complications of trying to get this show out and
that's
stuff.
Pretty much why we didn't have a show 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I mean you've had issues going on too as well. So
yeah.
Life's been busy between the two of us.
So yeah, that's the sound in the background is Chris's new baby.
Yeah.
Might as well introduce her.
I think she's hungry, so yeah. And Nora's the new one to join Emma. So, yeah. Anyways, where are we going here? What else do you guys say about the game? I mean,
well, Stringer was scratched the game before.
Right. Yeah. Let's go to that.
And it sounded like Herauf basically said that he's gonna put the best team available out.
Yeah, and I think
he was scratched the game before.
Yeah, maybe we misread that a bit. We're like, oh, maybe there was a trade happening possibly, or maybe movement.
We might have jumped the gun, but it's still only 7 games into the season. Lots of stuff can still happen.
Mm-hmm. So he sits Michaels in that PA game, Stringer in that game, and then Spencer in this Medicine Hat game. So he's not afraid to sit veterans, and obviously there's, I think maybe he's a little more. I don't want to say more attention to detail, but like he's not willing to sit veterans if they're not playing well or practicing well, it seems.
The only problem with that, the team, I know they want to give the young guys ice time and stuff, but when you bench you scratch your guys that are potentially your offense, that is kind of a bad look. Mm-hmm. But I totally get they wanted to give the young guys ice time. Just dress the guys, bench them. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do after the Saturday game because that was a schmozzle.
Yeah, you can't bench half the team, right?
Yeah, because that was, I don't know, for all those that watched it, yeah, it was not easy to watch.
Yeah.
And for those of you trying to listen to it on the RM2 online, I feel so bad for you. I tried and it kept on skipping around. I'd hear the same thing 5 or 6 or 7 times, and it jump forward, jump back. It was so bad.
Yeah, because the video, I mean, not to jump ahead, but we'll just touch on this quickly. The video cutouts, you went over to the radio, and I just, whatever, I didn't bother. But I tried to listen to the post game and maybe get an interview. Not that there was going to be anything good out of that game, just to see what the coach had to say with that game. But yeah, it's literally unlistenable.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, you hear Brad and Dante talking, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Brad's like, oh, Dante, I think I can't hear you. I think you cut off, and all of a sudden it's like, beep, and they went to commercial.
Oh, okay.
And then after the commercial, everything seemed to be back in line. Everything ran. It's like, they were too busy worried about the Ryder game, getting the Ryder post-game show on for that schmozzle.
Not that game was any better. Anyways, yeah. So if you got nothing else on the Medicine Hat game, we'll go to Brad and Ewan. So first interview with Ewan, his English is real good, obviously, and really good interview there. So we'll listen to those guys.
Well, Brad, that one had to feel nice. Obviously, we've talked about before, but just to get rewarded for the kind of game that you guys put together.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told the guys. I felt like our record could have been better. Just the hockey we're playing as up until this point, and I thought in the first period we got rewarded. We finished on a couple of those plays, so I think we set ourselves up for the rest of the game.
What do you think the difference was?
I don't think there's much difference. I think we just finished on our chances. Our forecheck was still applying the same pressure. We still had kind of like the same. We are still, I think, having the same matchup problems for other teams. I think we can roll all 4 of our lines and play them against most anybody. So I think that keeps our energy levels up and allows us to play at a high pace.
When you get a performance like you did from UA and net, that obviously helps.
Oh, absolutely. I think that in the first period, the first 5 minutes, he made a couple of real calming saves. That could have changed momentum. They're a high-powered team. They score real easy. Seems like every shot, their guys are working themselves to the net. It seems like it's dangerous, but he definitely kept the momentum on our side today and kept the boys believing.
How different was the locker room after the first period tonight compared to
Well, I think that we're talking about not being frustrated. We talk about sticking with it and just evaluating our process, not the result. And today, I think that our process, we got the result that went along with it. So I think that they're obviously a lot more happy. But we knew 3-0. Medicine Hat had some bus troubles today, so we knew that their second period was going to be good. They're a really good team for a reason. They haven't lost for a reason, and we knew we had to have our best period in the second.
Was tonight kind of the performance with Stringer kind of what you expected from day in, day out from him?
From who? I'm sorry?
From Stringer.
For Stringer, oh, absolutely, guys. He's a maniac when he gets on the ice. That 5-on-3, like how many shots did he block? And his anticipation without the puck, his hockey IQ is off the charts. He did a real good job for us. And the other night when he wasn't in our lineup, I let him know that he hurt us that game. And because when he's in our lineup, he can make a difference for us.
Is that kind of what you're looking for? Same thing with Michael's previous game?
Absolutely. All the guys that we've kind of sat out so far have stepped up and shoved it back in my face, and that's the response we want. I believe in these kids. I know what they're capable of doing. My job is to push them to that edge and make sure they stay at that edge all the time. And if they're not at that edge, we're trying to create something here and create an environment and a standard here. And we'll remind the guys, we don't care if they're leading scorer or where they were picked. We're trying to build a team here, and I think that tonight and the way we've been playing has been indicative of that. Yeah, it's just things we got to get right here with our culture and things that we want to set a standard here. And obviously those good players, we need them in the lineup, but we're not going to sacrifice our culture for the short term right here. We believe we're building something special, and we want to make sure that the younger guys, they understand that when we're saying something, it means it.
Through 4 home games, do you feel like visiting teams now really got to bring their working boots in order to pick up a win here at the Brand Center?
Well, I think the biggest thing we want to talk about is that the start of the year was establishing identity and what kind of hockey team we are going to be. And I think that's, I hope that's what teams are starting to realize now, that that's what they're going to have to do every game. And if you're going to beat us, we're going to try to take a piece of skin off you, and we're going to make you be your best to beat us.
I imagine that had to feel nice to come away with the win.
No, yeah, it was great. We knew the team we're playing tonight was going to be really talented and creative in the offensive zone. I thought we did a great job in the first period. We took momentum and never looked back, I guess. Yeah.
Obviously a team effort, but you were named the first star. What do you think was clicking for you tonight? Were you just seeing the puck well?
Yeah, I think the defense was just great. A lot of outside shots. We battled through it, and these saves, I couldn't do it without them. So I think it was just clicking as a team. I guess just everything was good about that game. So no, it feels great.
Was it nice to get the start and the win at home as well?
Oh yeah, great. Oh yeah, I mean it's always great, but at home it feels even better. So no, it's just great.
You able to walk through that glove save in the second period on McKenna?
Just kind of an unfortunate play for the defense, but just the puck went through the slot and kind of saw it, ending up on McKenna, was it? And I didn't think much of it at the time. It's just like those desperation saves, and I think after the glove save, it's like, oh yeah, that was good. But getting ready for the next face-off right after it.
How was the transition to playing in Canada here for you?
I'd say it was good. Goalie coach was great. Details, I guess it's a game of details, especially when you're a goalie coming out from big rinks and I'd say it was good, and it was not easy. Had a tough time at the start, but no, it's getting better every game, so I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah.
What has been the biggest difference?
Obviously, every shot here is kind of a dangerous shot. It's more of a offense and rush-driven game, I'd say. So pucks are thrown on the net from everywhere, and you have to be aware. It's like really a 60-minute game. Every time the puck is in the zone, you have to be aware and sharp on every play.
Were the angles different at all in a smaller rink? I imagine as a goalie, everything is kind of angled. Whether things bounce off the boards behind the net, whatever it might be. How much is the angles of the game differently?
You have to kind of learn it. It's not really different, but I'd say pucks in the angle, you have to play a different style. Maybe a little more on your knees, like RVH, and yeah, you kind of learn playing, I guess. And like you said, pucks bouncing out of the boards. We saw one goal like that tonight, and that's details again, but it's important, I guess, in North American hockey, and it's just you learn it while you're playing.
All right, yeah. So into the Saskatoon game, both teams had
Boy,
the Friday night off.
That was not a good game
Not at
for
all.
the Pats, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Saskatoon. I mean, okay, so they got Elliott back and Molendyke. Obviously Elliott's a little more solid back there. The Pats would scored 5 goals on, what did we say, 18 shots in that first game?
Yeah. So
I mean, it wasn't the greatest goaltending performance that night. But this was a whole team domination by the Blades, like
top to bottom,
start to finish,
top to bottom. How many scoring chances did the Pats have? They had 15
one.
shots.
I think they had one legit scoring chance.
Other than the goal? Maybe
Yeah,
one.
yeah, other than the goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was one actually good scoring chance.
They got dominated on the faceoffs. Like that was bad. Every faceoff, it was Saskatoon puck.
45 to 23.
But almost every faceoff, they had possession. You can't be chasing against guys like Wong and Molendyke. Those guys can skate, and don't get me wrong, like they're not a powerhouse like they were last year, but they still have a lot of good,
solid
fast,
players.
Solid players.
You got Sidorov, you kept him off the board, but guys like Molendyke, he had the opening goal, right? Molendyke, yeah, that was a really nice goal. It was the opening one.
Nice pass by that William James guy.
Yeah, Lazowski with 2. Parr, Keller, Hansen. Those guys, those guys are veterans. So
yeah,
like they're a solid team, and 8 penalties you take.
That's not good. That's not good either.
You only generated 3 power plays, but you're not going to generate power plays when you're chasing the game all the time, and you're going to take penalties when you're chasing, and that's where you get those hookings, holdings, trippings, because you're behind the play all the time. So
when you're chasing the whole time, you have no chance.
No, exactly.
And both goalies played. Both goalies looked equally as good or as bad. Like they
didn't look terrible.
They both made 20 saves. Like that's 20 saves in one period, and then 20 whatever for Pine the rest of the way. It's like bad. It was bad.
Huet was 20 of 23, and Pine was 25 of 28 in 2 periods.
Yeah.
So.
I think Saskatoon cut a let off in the 3rd period. That's when the Pats got their scoring chance. They didn't put the foot down.
Well, they got the scoring chance right off that opening face-off. So, that's the goal.
They didn't really put the foot down and just
in
stomp
the
the Pats to a pulp.
Yeah, so I mean, just an ugly game. So, like we said, Spencer was back in the lineup, and he set up that a nice play on the 2-on-1. I mean, that's all there was to that game to talk about positive, really.
Yeah, pretty much. It was not easy to watch.
No, it was ugly.
I wanted to turn it off, but I kept it on.
Yeah, so did I. I watched right to the end.
I'm still helping Dante, so I kept it on.
Yeah. Former co-host Matt was in Saskatoon for the game, and he's like, this is the first game he's seen, and he's like, wow, they're bad. I'm like, well, they're not this bad. This is the first bad game of the season. Like we mentioned last week, they played good. They've been in every game, basically 1-goal games.
As long as it doesn't carry over.
Yeah.
If that play on Saturday carries over, they're going to be in big trouble. They won't be in many games.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully it doesn't carry over, but it is what it is. I mean, we know this team is going to be, not the best, but we've been surprised a little bit by their play at the first 5 games, or 6 games, I guess now.
Yeah.
And then the 7th one has been a little rough.
Absolute dud.
Yeah. So if they can just get rid of that, because you look ahead and it's 3-4, right? Coming up here.
Yeah, at
So,
least they're at home, so they don't have to do any
yes.
traveling. But it's gonna be an interesting stretch.
Yeah, tough to correct some stuff. You're not gonna have much practice time in a 3-4.
And with Calgary, Red Deer, Lethbridge coming in, like there's so many question marks with these teams. Like I think everybody thought Red Deer would be a lot better than they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Calgary. I thought Calgary.
Calgary has some question marks, but now they got Chagall back,
Mm-hmm.
and they seem to be a little bit on the road to being okay again. And Lethbridge, you never know. They got Paulson and Aronson on defense, and they got Wormold and Marquez and those guys up front. It could be an interesting 3-3 or 3-4.
Yeah, like you look at Lethbridge, they're 4-2, and then Red Deer and Calgary are 2-3. So, like we said, it's still early, but like I said, Red Deer thought be a little better. Calgary, I think maybe the goaltending issue there. They've only scored actually 11 goals, Calgary. So that seems to be the
Their
big
Achilles
issue.
heel.
Yeah. I mean, Lethbridge, they've scored 22 in 6 games. So that's maybe a little surprising. Because, I don't know. They don't really have, much for name guys offensively. Like, we know their defense is going to be good.
Well, when Calgary comes in Wednesday, they're in Moose Jaw on Tuesday. So that
the night before,
might be helpful. And Lethbridge is in Brandon Wednesday for their next game against us. So, yeah, hopefully they come in tired, traveling. I know the Moose Jaw is not that far, but at least
they play the night before. Yeah. So they won't be practicing in the morning. They'll have whatever, maybe a little skate or something. But so that's upcoming. So Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, busy week upcoming here. And I think there's all 3 are winnable games, right? Like,
yeah, there's so much parity right now. No one seems to know where they want to be in the standings. So I think every game is pretty much winnable, as long as they play like they had been the first 6 games.
Yeah, you look at Medicine Hat. You're thinking, okay, they're stepping up. They're at the top of the heap here, but they come in. They obviously had maybe the bus issues that led led them to have the rough start that they did, and the Pats are able to capitalize. And
that may have led to the rough start. Maybe the Pats just caught them on a down game.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, but it was nice to see the Pats capitalize on like the Moose Jaw game where they dominated and couldn't get out of the period with a lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Red Deer and Calgary are both behind you, so winnable games and
hopefully winnable games.
Yeah, it's just they've really got to capitalize, because once these teams start to get rolling, like say the Medicine Hats down the line, they might be tough to beat later in the season. Yeah,
once they get their stuff figured out, once they get themselves figured out in goal, and maybe on defense, because they got their 3 20-year-olds on defense, and I don't know, it doesn't seem to be working for them. Maybe they need to upgrade their 20-year-old situation, just like a lot of other teams. And that's coming up pretty soon. 8 days from now? So,
yeah, 16th. They've given up 24 goals. They have played 7 games, but that's quite a bit. You look at Saskatoon, they've only given up 16, and 5 of those were to the Pats in 1 game, right? So
yeah.
So I don't know if you got anything else on the look ahead.
No.
Okay, I guess
it's all good.
Yeah, well, let's go back to Wednesday night, and it was kind of nice. They recognized Bob Strumm for being inducted in the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, and legendary Pats GM/coach. I did an article on Dub Network a few years back, and he was my GM of all time, I guess. I mean, he put together some really good teams. They had some really good results.
They just couldn't quite get over run over the hump to get the championship. They were close. They were close twice.
Yeah.
Well, technically 3 times, but yeah, the 82 was not a great ending.
Yeah, but I think it was 4 or 5 40-win seasons, like different coach almost every year and stuff, and he just
all 6 seasons he was here, they had 40 wins.
There you go, all 6. So, and how many different coaches? There was 4 coaches, something like that.
Yeah,
excluding him.
4 plus him.
Yeah, 4 plus him, right? So, it didn't matter who the coach was; he was bringing in players, and there's a really good interview with the Monday Nooner guys. I would retweet it out, and he's told some stories on how he's bringing in some guys, maybe skirting the rules and stuff. So I mean, he seems to be quite the storyteller.
There was some very questionable rules back in the day. There was
That's
a
true.
lot of shenanigans.
Gray area.
Not just with Bob Strumm. There was
No.
other GMs that they tinkered with things. They pushed boundaries to get certain players. And yeah, it was. I'm not old enough to really remember that era, but reading about it and meeting the players and stuff, it sounds like it was a real fun time. The guys, like I went to a luncheon that Kevin Gallant put together for Strumm. Strumm came from Vegas. His daughter Christy and son Bob Jr. came from. I'm not sure where they came from. I think Bob Jr. he scouts for the Senators, I believe, and I'm not sure where he's from. And I think Christy is from Calgary. I think. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. But they came in, and some are Odeline. I don't know for the younger listeners, nobody would know who that is. But him and his wife drove in from Quill Lake to see Strumm, and like Bob Strumm treated these guys like their long lost grandkids and stuff. It was great to see. When he saw Darren Bobick doesn't look anything like he did in the pictures and the programs. And when he saw him, Strummer started to legitly cry. And I thought that was one of the greatest things. Like Dale Durkach was at this lunch, Kurt Wickenheiser, Kevin Gallant put it on, Kelly Marquardt, Nevin Marquardt, Summer Odelin, like I said. Ernie Wells, one of the guys that helped build the Pats back in the 80s. Brad and Brian Wells' dad. He came in from Moosomin, I think. And Darren Veach, his mom still lives here, but he came all the way from Indiana for the lunch, which was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Get over it.
Yeah, no, Dante had.
And there was two former owners, Jerry Pinder and Doug Kester. I think they both came from BC, so that's crazy. Just for Strumm, that's what kind of impact he had in his short time here. And like some of these guys haven't seen him in like 40 years.
Since they played, yeah, right.
They might have talked to him on the phone or whatever, but they haven't seen each other in 40 years. It was awesome.
Yeah, because Strumm's been all over the map since he left the Pats. He went to the OHL for a while, then he's been doing pro scouting, and he went to the IHL in Vegas, and he said he still keeps a place there. He always comes back to Vegas. Yeah.
He went to Spokane. He was the GM there for a little while.
And he went to Sudbury, I think it was.
Yeah.
That didn't work out too well.
And he didn't get paid.
Yeah. So that didn't last very long.
He didn't get paid, so he left. But
yeah, no,
it was a cool thing. And then Thursday evening, they had the induction, and he was up there. They were supposed to only get like 5 minutes, and he was up there for a good 15. And his storytelling, it was the best way to end the show, because just telling stories, it was great.
Yeah.
I could listen to him talk all day, every day for like a month probably, just listening to different stories.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I know, Dante had a couple of those guys like Veach, and I don't know who else on
Nevin
Wednesday.
Marquardt,
yeah.
Al Dumba.
And Dumba, yeah. So they had them on pre-game and in intermission interviews and stuff. So that was cool for him to make some acquaintances with those former Pats, obviously, because he's young and he doesn't know these guys too well at all. So
I wish he could have been at that lunch, because just hearing the stories from the old timers, like he hears it from me. Like I tell him stories about that era, and he looks at me like, oh yeah, sure. But if he heard it from those guys,
yeah, it's
like,
a different, yeah.
Like he heard it from Nevin Marquardt, or he heard it directly from Strumm during those intermission shows, the whatever 15 minutes they were allowed. It's totally different than hearing it third hand or whatever, because I get it from the paper or someone else told me. It was awesome. It was nice to meet Bob Strumm. I talked to him on the phone a couple years ago, getting some information for my history stuff. And he knew who I was. He didn't introduce himself. He's like, he comes in just before I was ready to leave. Kevin, keep doing what you're doing. So
that's awesome.
I was happy.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, definitely. Well, you do some good work doing all the history stuff and tweeting out all the history stuff that you used to, and maybe get back into that a bit.
I'm going to start getting back into that right away.
Yeah. No, that's good.
It was not a great summer. It's starting to feel a little bit better. So I'll get more into tweeting and stuff, or posting on X/Twitter, whatever you call it now.
Whatever you want to call it. I still haven't updated, so I'm still on Twitter.
You're one of the few. You're one of the very, very few.
Yeah, so that was awesome. That was a great experience for you, meeting those guys and hearing some more of those cool stories. So with the history of this team, there's so much there, right? There's so much to talk about, so many different eras, and I mean, like I said, nobody under like 50 per se would remember seeing these guys play. So
yeah. Like
right?
I was when they won the WHL championship, I was like a year and a half old.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't remember.
No.
I don't remember that. So
no, it's cool that touching back some of this history. There's so much there.
For sure.
So I don't know. There's not much else happening. I mean, we can, like we said, talked about the Eastern Conference a little bit. Kind of wide open. Prince George is maybe in the West is not running away, but they're kind of taking a step out from the pack.
No one's really running away.
Not yet.
Early.
Anyways, yeah.
It's really early, but
Prince George is 6-2, but Portland's right behind them at 4-1. So
yeah, they played 3 more games too. So
exactly right. Wenatchee just went up into Prince George and beat them on the weekend, and then they went down to Kamloops and won today in overtime 7-6. Former Pat Easton Armstrong with a hat trick finished it off in overtime.
Well, wouldn't we like him back here?
Yeah, a scoring 20-year-old. That wouldn't be bad to see. But
yeah, well, we'll see what Al's got up his sleeve. I'm sure he's not going to stick with what he's got. I'm sure there's going to be some moves happening.
Yeah,
he's still got an extra forward, an extra defenseman. Well, Slaney, they said he was day to day, so that kind of stops that maybe. But
yeah, right. He didn't play in Saskatoon on Saturday night, but he was out due to injury, not a healthy scratch issue there. So I guess we'll see what happens Wednesday. Yeah. Maybe there's somebody sitting, who knows, right? It seems like Brad's, like we said, he's not afraid to sit veterans here. So send a message.
Like that game on Saturday, a whole bunch of guys could sit.
Yeah.
But you can't sit 10 guys.
No. So
or 5 guys. So
yeah.
Unless they call up a bunch of the kids. That would be pretty wild if they did.
Yeah.
But look, going back to the Eastern Conference standings, like if the Pats were to win Wednesday, they would leapfrog into a tie for first. That's how close it is. They're in 8th right now.
Yeah, technically in 8th. Yeah,
they're technically in 8th. They're tied for 6th or whatever. So like it's so early to really even try to gauge where anybody is going to be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that I think that's all I got.
There's not much else to add. Got the 2 games in, talked about the Strummer situation. Oh, and he actually, Friday morning he went and he did a tour of the dressing room and he gave the guys a pep talk.
Right, yeah.
Tweeted about that on social media. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I did have a thought there for a quick second, but yeah, I mean, you try to, if you can get 2 out of 3 wins this weekend, 2 out of 3 would be nice.
3 out of 3?
3 out of 3 would be great. But yeah, there's still some roster fluctuation going on here, right? Like I said, the 20-year-old deadline's in just over a week. And there'll be some moves. Like the team's got to make some decisions. We've seen
some teams have like 6 20-year-olds still. So,
well, then you see, say Moose Jaw, right? Savvy gets sent back as a 20-year-old import.
Yeah,
it's a little surprising. You don't see those guys come back very often. So they had to move Allery, and then they had to move Kral. Kral got picked up by Vancouver, but they're waiting on Hanzek because he's injured. And then Allery went to Seattle, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Seattle, yeah. Seattle of all teams, like they had, such a older roster last year, and they're a team to pick up a 20. It's kind of odd, right?
Yeah, they made 4 or 5 trades and they gave up a bunch more picks. Like,
yeah, they should be sending guys out, but yeah, right.
Try to build, but they're going for it again.
I guess so.
And Kamloops, Kelowna got one of their 20-year-olds back too. They got Zertek, whatever his name is, Gabriel Zertek or whatever his name is.
It starts with an S, doesn't it?
Sturk, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got sent back. He's the
import 20.
Yeah, he's 20 as an import.
Okay.
So that's going to help them.
Yeah.
So I think they've got an extra 20 now. So
For Kelowna, Tij Iginla, I think he had a hat trick on the weekend. He's really looked well. That trade from Seattle last year, obviously Seattle had to move some young guys to bring in some veterans. They might be regretting that trade maybe a little bit. In
probably a bit, yeah. Yeah, so that now Kelowna has a 20-year-old spot that they need to get rid of. So
okay,
but
there'll be some movement here in the next week for sure.
It'll be interesting how it plays out for everybody.
Yeah,
I don't know if the Pats are going to do anything. I'm sure there's going to be some tinkering, but maybe not right away, because he wanted to give the team a chance to figure out what kind of team he has.
Yeah, he's going to see what he's got.
First 6 games were good. This last game was a super dud. So hopefully these next 3 games are going to be something worth watching and worth tuning in for, because the attendance at the home games has not been good.
Especially those Wednesdays.
The last Wednesday game was 2,304 announced, and there wasn't even close to 2,300 people in the building.
No,
which is super, super sad. But we could go into the gory details. Everybody knows what it is, or a majority of it. People know what that is. We're not going to harp on it because
it is what it is.
Why? Everybody on social media, every time the Pats play, tickets are too expensive. This is too expensive. Do we tip on concessions? Like, why? What? You don't tip on concessions. But every time the Pats post something, it's too expensive. Okay, they understand that. They know it's nothing they can do. It's the people above them.
Yeah.
What can they do?
It's not your social media people.
Exactly.
It's not on them, right? It's the people that make the decisions.
They must have a core base of around 2,000 season tickets. Is that good enough for them? It seems like it is. I don't know, but
yeah.
Are they going to make money with only having 2,000 people in the stands?
Yeah, it'd be pretty tight.
Tickets purchased, not in the stands.
Yeah, because you got to count tickets sold. Doesn't matter how many people actually sit or come to the game.
Exactly.
If tickets sold, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
not bums and seats.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously smaller teams like say Swift Current or PA, they can get by with that. Pats, I mean, it's all about the corporate sponsorship too, right? There's lots of money there that I think they do all right with. But
they must, because otherwise I don't know what to say, because you got $7 tickets in some places for kids, and Brandon's got like $5 tickets for kids, like a whole season with $5 a ticket for every game. Like it's
their kids' season ticket is $150 for Brandon.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
Yep.
Question all we want. They're clearly not going to change it, because they would have changed it.
Yep, definitely. They're not. They're doing what they're doing, what they think is right. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's just it shows in the stands, right? It's like you said last game or last show. It's tough for the players. Like they seen what these crowds can be like and how good it is. And I mean, honestly, that Wednesday game, it was loud even with it
was loud, really loud. I couldn't believe it.
How loud it was for how many people were there. Like, obviously the Pats were up 3-0 after the first period. Like people
got into it.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I can't remember somebody had a breakaway. Maybe who was it? Somebody had a breakaway and it was just like, it sounded like there was 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people in the stands.
It was loud.
So, but yeah, no, it's just kind of unfortunate. But I guess with that, if you got nothing else, I think we should move on. We got some interviews, and keep it a little tighter this week, a little shorter.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, it might be a busy week. We'll have lots of interviews next week, so I'll have to fit some in and try to keep it not too long for you.
We'll see how they play.
Yeah, that too, right? If they don't play very well, we won't talk much about it like that's a student game. So
yes, that was
There's nothing to talk about, literally, about that game. So.
Nope. But, just glad I didn't go.
Yeah, no doubt. Good thing it was a home game, hey?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Have a good night, folks.
Take care.